The following is my story, and I'm gonna hit you with a plot twist first. In January 2018, I got this email. Dear Karam and others, out of literally thousands of applicants, you made it. Welcome to the NAS Daily Bootcamp. This was a response to a video application I made after seeing this video.
It's day 600, which means every single day for 600 days straight, I made a video. Never missed a day, not even once. I script, shoot, and edit every single thing by myself, just me. And after 450 million views and 600 days straight, I realized that I'm an idiot. I'm spending way too much time editing and making these videos every single night and not enough time thinking about how to make NAS Daily the next Google. And because of that, I decided to grow and hire a video editor. Someone to eat, live, and travel with us.
That's 1 minute! See you tomorrow!
Basically, I was going to Morocco for 10 days to help NAS Daily, an already established creator with millions of followers, make his videos and compete for this editor position. This would be a great time to mention that my application video was the first video that I had ever created. At this point in my life, I was 25 years old, living in Montreal with my parents and in my 6th year at McGill University. With already a physiology degree in my pocket, I was a few months away from graduating from nutrition. But at the time, I was mostly doing what other people in their 20s do. I was trying to find my purpose within the community, to feel safe and loved and supported, because I was never anyone's person. I had friends, but I was never the first choice to any of them. I was a boy, lonely, unfulfilled, and unhappy. The following is a story of how I became a man who is proud of himself, who developed his own authentic style, someone who is grateful for the life that he has and is surrounded with people who he calls home, and a man who is genuinely a happy human. Presented to you on my 30th birthday. I wanted to be a doctor, or rather I thought that I wanted to be one. Maybe it's because I'm a first-generation Syrian immigrant. So naturally, during my university years, I found other things that interested me other than my studies. One of these things was photography. So I bought a camera and watched YouTube tutorials on how to take and edit good photos. But as a lot of 90s kids coming of age in the 2010s, comparing our lives to those we found on social media was a rite of passage. And through watching a lot of YouTube, I was most envious of Casey Neistat and NAS Daily, two people I would end up meeting and working with in the months to come. I wanted what they had and tell stories like they did, but I was overwhelmed with helplessness. I've never made a video in my life. How do I get there? Well, thankfully, with the lack of a social life and a disinterest in my studies, I had all the time in the world to learn. And when I saw this video from NAS Daily, I decided that an application video would be the perfect project to kick off my video creation journey. So, I made my first ever video, introducing myself in his style and sent it to him.
Meet Karam. Hi, I'm Karam, and I live to showcase the world, making this and my camera the most important things I own. Living in Montreal, Karam has a degree in physiology and is pursuing another in nutrition.
I took action. I started somewhere. And thank God that I did, because in a few weeks' time, I would get that email and I would go to Morocco for 10 days and undergo one of the most intense learning experiences of my life.
2, 3, hi!
I didn't say hi. Morocco was intense. It was fun, eye-opening, interesting, but intense. We were 7 people traveling together, 5 of us competing for the editor position. But finally, we were all there to explore and learn from each other and help NAS Daily make his videos. It was awesome.
Hi! This video is shot in the country of...
Every day, we got out of bed, found the story of the day, scripted, shot, and edited it.
Should we check the views?
I somehow ended up being the person who took on the editing at the end of the night because I was the only one who knew how to work with Final Cut Pro. That first video that I created was actually created with a different editing software called Premiere Pro. But after getting that email, I dove deep into the NAS Daily story and style. And I studied the way that he structures his stories and workflow, and found out that he uses Final Cut Pro. So I gave myself a crash course in the weeks leading up to the trip. Let's be clear, I wasn't the best editor. I wasn't even a good editor. I was very slow. But I knew that any information that I needed was out there. I just had to look for it. So I said yes to taking on the editing. I put myself in a situation where I had no option but to figure it out. This resulted in me sleeping only about 3 hours every day. As the days progressed and more stories were told, Nusayr asked Aegon and I if we'd stay with him and Aline and join the Nas Daily team.
I'm freaking rambling the kids.
Aegon, also known as Project Nightfall, already worked as an editor for YouTubers and was the best editor that I had ever met. On this adventure, he was creating longer format videos for Nas Daily using Premiere Pro, while I helped with the shorter, classic Nas Daily 1-minute videos. And so when Nas asked us to stay, we both said yes. Of course, I said yes. Nusayr gave me a chance, and I would have been stupid to turn it down. I wasn't excited to go back to a lonely and safe life in Montreal or a career in academia or medicine. I was more interested in this foreign, scary path that lay ahead. I didn't let fear cripple my decision-making, but instead, I used it to propel me forward. We can't choose where we come from, but we can choose where we'll end up, if we have the privilege to do so. And I did have that privilege. So instead of taking my flight back to Montreal, I dropped out of my nutrition degree, even though I had 3 months left to graduate. Called my parents, told them that I wasn't coming back, and went to Japan with Nusayr, Aline, and Aegon. I now had a job that I was deeply underqualified for. And it was 24/7.
So I know this is extremely random, but we just found ourselves in the middle of Tokyo, coming straight from Morocco, going crazy over here. And my man, Karam, is taking a hyperlapse in the middle of the crossing.
The next 2 months gave a new definition to intense.
Is this the vlog life?
But I was having the time of my life. We traveled to Tokyo, Kyoto, Nagasaki, San Francisco, Los Angeles, New York, Puerto Rico, and Senegal. And we created videos for Nas Daily and brands along the way.
Meet Takoro.
I slept very little, but I was getting a world-class education. Looking back at this footage, I see someone who didn't know what he was doing. Imposter syndrome was real.
Wow, working on something.
Yeah, trying to.
I was just riding the wave. Whenever I had a moment to breathe, I was in awe. I had accumulated so many stories, seen so many new places, met so many inspiring people,
Hi, I'm Brandon.
and was introduced to a lifestyle that was so foreign to me. One that only a few people on the internet get to live. And all the while, I was doing my best to stay afloat, to keep up.
This story is about me and Casey.
But by the end of it, it's a story about you.
That's good. Good.
While we were in New York City, one of the videos that we were creating was a collaboration with Casey Neistat, a YouTube legend. We ended up spending the whole day with him in his iconic studio.
It's not about having an interesting life, it's about telling your story interestingly.
This particular moment was unreal. A moment of, what the fuck did I just experience? How did I get here? I was literally watching this guy and his space on YouTube a month ago, wishing I could create videos like him. It was also the moment where things started to shift for me. This fast life and little sleep had finally caught up. The pace at which we were living didn't really align with my values and the way that I wanted to experience the world. I knew that this was going to come to an end soon. And surely enough, it did.
And for now, bye from Puerto Rico!
In Puerto Rico, Nusayr and I decided that we'd part ways after Senegal in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
At this point in time, Aegon had become proficient in Final Cut Pro and was able to do a much better job at editing the Nas Daily videos than I. And he was much faster at it too. And thus, my reason for being on the team was taken away. I was encouraged to make my own videos and stay as a creative team member. But I didn't have a style. I didn't know what to make, how to make it, and of what. I tried, but when I look through the footage, I see a lost boy copying what's around him, not knowing what to do.
So, what makes me feel most alive? You see, there's no one simple answer, and I don't want to bullshit you.
Honestly, these are clips that I find very difficult to look at. This decision brought me a lot of relief and fear at the same time. After 2 months of only sleeping 3 to 4 hours every night, I was a ghost of myself. I mean, just look at these bags under my eyes. This fast-paced life I knew was not for me. There were stories that I would have loved to put more time into, to get to know the characters and culture a little more. Plus, I so desperately needed to take a break and reflect back on what I just experienced, to take a breath and figure out what it all meant to me and where to go from there. And so, with immense gratitude for Nasir and the team and an enormous amount of fear, I left to go to Berlin for the first time.
Actually, wait. Oh no, it's this way.
Choosing Berlin over Montreal was the scariest and most difficult decision yet. It was me deciding that I'm going to be the writer of my own story. I wanted to go somewhere where I would have true freedom of choice. I wanted to see what I wanted without the influence of those around me back home. I wanted to put myself in a situation where I had no other choice but to figure it out.
So, if you're sitting there thinking that you have no idea where your life is going, I'm here to tell you that it's okay to be lost.
And with only $1,500 in the bank, that's exactly what I did. When I got to Berlin, after sleeping for 2 days straight, I knew that I needed to continue doing. Things don't just work out, but they do if you have the mindset for them. I could have easily seen that separation from the Nas Daily team as a failure, but I chose to look at it as a learning experience. Now was the time to apply what I learned and learn some more. So I did what I knew how to do. I imitated.
You see, happiness comes from a lot of sources. For some, it's playing with marbles.
As hard as it is to watch the first videos I made in Berlin, I can now look back on them with honor and pride. Of course they're going to be cringy. Imagine if they weren't. That would mean that I didn't improve.
And this right here is me being as happy as ever and also as lost as ever. Let me catch up to speed. Wait, what's wrong with your voice?
It's clear that I didn't know what I was doing, but I didn't let that stop me. I had to imitate before I could innovate. None of it was easy, but that wasn't the point. I didn't want it to be easy. I wanted it to be interesting, and it was interesting. I was discovering a whole new world. I had finally let my creativity out of the cage that it had been in all its life. This profound sense of interest kept me creating, even though I had no tangible successes. And slowly, I improved. It's one of those generous rules of life that whatever we practice, we will improve at.
Sorry, Mom.
Over the course of the next few months, my video creation improved and I started to land gigs that helped me finance this new life. Notably, I piloted a Facebook marketing campaign for Uber Eats, creating videos of partnering restaurants across the world in America, Canada, the Netherlands, and Portugal. With that money, I went on my first ever slow travel adventure. Bike touring 2,000 kilometers from Hanoi to Ho Chi Minh City. I wanted to experience traveling and storytelling at a slower pace than what I knew from my Nas Daily days. And I was not disappointed. Eventually, I was ready to go back to Montreal. After having proven to myself that I can figure out any situation that I put myself in, I was ready to face my people back home.
Okay, I'm coming back.
While in Montreal, I fell in love. I met someone who understood me, who shared my spirit for adventure and made me feel needed. And because of that, I wanted to stay put for a while, so I caved into the 9-to-5 life and got a job, a really well-paying job as a storyteller for a startup. The hours were long, but the people were amazing and it was interesting. I was learning, building my own team, and seeing results.
Story first.
Shit! Storytelling was what got me into this job.
But as the work got repetitive and my creativity got drained, I saw that I needed a change. And thank God that I was well versed in the art of jumping into the unknown. I wasn't going to settle for a life anything than spectacular, and so despite a generous raise and an offer to give me shares in the company in exchange for 3 years, I quit. What I was going to do with the money after 3 years would have been exactly what I set out to do now. So I reclaimed my freedom, adventured for a little while, and moved to Berlin with Elena permanently on the eve of 2020.
So we finally did it, and we moved to Berlin.
And so, over the next few years, I continued listening to the whisper of my heart, saying yes first and figuring out second, and all the while working on myself. I traveled to foreign places, met people from different cultures, accumulated stories, and filled my head with memories and my hard drives with footage. And through it all, I found my people who are scattered across the globe, and people who chose to build a home with me, people that I call home, family, best friends, and platonic life partners.
No, you're all beautiful.
Yeah, likewise.
Did you kiss your own hand?
Yeah, I did. Did it twice. Hey man, I haven't watched my hands either, so.
And so, as I turn 30, I can't help but reflect back on this lonely, lost 25-year-old kid in his parents' home and think of how proud I am of him for seeing that something needed to change and for actually doing something about it. For taking action and leaping into the unknown. For saying yes, again and again and again. Oh, how worth it all had been.